3 secrets the rich don't want you to know. Hello, and welcome to Reverse Thinking. I want to ask everyone a question. Do you hate the rich? Do you think society is fair? Do you believe money is the root of all evil? If you have these thoughts, then there's a book perfect for you called Money Can't Buy Everything. Actually, if you've been following my channel, you know I specialize in sharing mindsets for getting rich. So why am I recommending this book? Looking at the title, it's clearly contrary to the theories I usually share. That's right. From my personal perspective, I think this book might not be very practical because it raises many problems but offers no solutions. Therefore, I consider it a rather negative book. But I still want to recommend it to everyone because its content can help broaden your thinking. The target audience and the illusion of purity. First, you need to know who this book is written for. It's very simple. Think about what kind of person would feel refreshed reading it. It's those who often say things like, money can't buy love, it can't buy health, it can't buy happiness. In other words, people whose minds have been brainwashed by movies and media. Around you, there are always a few people who act as if they aren't greedy for money, that they are pure in a corrupt world. But the reality is, every month they still bow down for their daily bread, becoming slaves to money. I don't mean to offend them, I just want everyone to consider a problem. Do they say money isn't everything because they already have money? Or because they don't have money, so they comfort themselves with those words to make others respect them more? The author of the book is Michael Sandel. I believe he is not a poor person, as both of his books are bestsellers. He writes this kind of book very convincingly, because he looks at many economic issues from the perspective of the rich, especially the problem between fairness and efficiency, which economists still haven't been able to resolve. This is a very profound subject. It just so happens that his views are widely supported by ordinary people. Therefore, that's why I'm recommending this book to everyone. Understanding Human Nature to Build Wealth. If you want to make money from the vast majority of ordinary people, you must stand in their shoes to design products and decide what industry we should start a business in. Simply put, we must understand human nature before we go out and make money. If you watch this entire video today and understand it, then from now on, you won't be able to stop. You will reach the pinnacle of your life. Your mindset and assets will be elevated to a new level. But before we begin, I still want to emphasize that this channel specializes in sharing wealth-building mindsets for entrepreneurs, investors, and the wealthy. If you want to receive free information in this field, you might consider subscribing to my channel and turning on notifications. I sincerely wish all of you who have liked this video to achieve financial freedom soon. And I also hope everyone can share this video freely so that many other fortunate people can also receive blessings. Now, without further ado, let's get into the main content. The illusion of absolute fairness. Let's talk about the first issue. People feel that the gap between rich and poor is a problem. Why? Because it leads to social injustice. The first viewpoint the author presents is that fairness is a right everyone should have, and it's something money can't buy. For example, when we queue, many people believe that queuing is a manifestation of fairness and justice. They believe that first come, first served demonstrates fairness because it creates an opportunity for everyone to participate. Simply put, as long as you're human and arrive early, you can queue regardless of whether you are rich or poor. However, if we use this standard to look at air travel, it seems very unfair. When flying, you don't have to queue. You just need to pay a little extra for a business class or first class ticket, and you can easily take the priority lane. The author believes this is unfair because not everyone has the same opportunity to queue. This leads to more and more people using money to solve problems, making the gap between rich and poor even wider. He argues that the poor have to pay more with the cost of waiting time, while the rich can easily control their lives, leading to the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. Do you agree? We can look at this issue from another perspective. Is this truly fair? Everyone should consider one thing. Is our time equally valuable? Elderly people, having retired and no longer needing to work, have free time at home, so they are willing to queue. Because they have time, queuing for them becomes a way to pass the time.
But what about our younger generation? We have to work, study, take care of our spouses and children, and watch reverse thinking's videos to enhance our knowledge. So are we willing to queue? Not very willing, because the value of our time is higher, isn't it? Our time is more precious. If we have time, we'd rather rest, right? Compared to that, what about the value of a rich person's time? It's even higher. I've said many times in previous videos that time is extremely important to the rich because they are willing to use money to buy time to learn more knowledge and then earn more money. Their time is extremely valuable, no exaggeration. They can earn or lose 100 million in just 1 minute. So for the rich, if you force them to queue with you, they will miss countless opportunities. Therefore, fairness is inherently a subjective concept. What you consider fair, others may feel is unfair, because each person's values and way of thinking are inherently different. Why do you agree with the view that fairness means everyone should have equal opportunities to participate? Because you are looking at the problem from the perspective of the poor. Just like the elderly who have free time see queuing as fair. But conversely, the rich who are at a disadvantage in terms of time see queuing as unfair. I want to emphasize that I support fairness. It's just that absolute fairness does not exist in this society. Scarcity, progress, and the role of wealth. Furthermore, resources on Earth are inherently scarce. If you look back to primitive times, women were considered an extremely rare resource. Every man who wanted to pursue a woman had to fight. Whoever won, the woman would follow that man to perpetuate the species. Not only that, the winner also had access to food sources and could continue to live, while the losers were eliminated and went extinct. History is like that. It's just that now we are more civilized and use money to solve the problem of resource distribution. Therefore, people today strive to work and make money, hoping that through money they can make life more comfortable and free. Why can some people make money while the poor cannot? It's still due to differences in knowledge and mindset. It is successful entrepreneurs who have changed the world, which is why they become rich. Very simply, without Steve Jobs, would we have smartphones to communicate? Without Zuckerberg, could we easily update each other's status? Without Jack Ma, could we do business online? So wealth is a reward for the rich because they have promoted the development of society. The first thing I want everyone to understand clearly is that the gap between rich and poor is inevitable because all things in the world inherently have differences in appearance, intelligence, and ability. Some people will say I'm biased, but that's the truth. Why are pigs born for people to eat? Is that fair to pigs? If it's not fair, why do you still eat them? Because that's the law of nature. It's the food chain. One could say it's fate. Most people passively accept their fate, which is why they are at the bottom of the food chain. But what about us? We must defy heaven and change our destiny. I often mention 2 methods to change one's destiny. First, increase knowledge and enlightenment. Second, change your environment. Approach people with good fortune to receive their energy. Simply put, step into the circle of the rich. If your level is a bit higher, you can study Buddhist thought. In reality, all sentient beings are equal because we are all the same. We bring nothing when we are born, and we take nothing when we die. All are endlessly reincarnating in the 6 realms. Only through enlightenment can we escape the sea of suffering. I won't elaborate on this part. Money, morality, and human nature. Secondly, the author discusses the issue of morality. He believes that money has a serious corrosive effect. So what is this corrosive effect? In fact, money can make many things that originally had meaning gradually become meaningless. People often say money can make even ghosts work. With money in your pocket, everything is easy. But in reality, everything becomes a commodity that can be bought and sold. The author believes that human beings cannot be bought and sold like goods because human beings have dignity and deserve respect. Let me give you an example. A famous actress was once condemned for surrogate pregnancy. Many people vehemently criticize surrogacy as violating ethics and morality. The author believes that money itself drives these sinful acts. Money is the root of all evil. He cites an example. A reporter once went to India to investigate a surrogate mother. Her husband earned $40 a month. Their family of 7 lived in a dilapidated house. If she acted as a surrogate once, she would receive $8,000, equivalent to 16 years of income for the entire family. Therefore, many surrogate mothers did not hide it and were supported by their whole family. Some husbands even dreamed of their new house being completed when their wife received the surrogacy money. One person's surrogacy makes the whole family happy. I don't want to be poor. I want a better life. This is why many poor women in India oppose the ban on commercial surrogacy, and is also a viewpoint raised during discussions about legalizing this practice. Some are willing to buy, some are willing to sell. Why shouldn't it be allowed? Those who advocate legalizing commercial surrogacy view the issue from a market perspective, and their arguments are quite reasonable. However, this only further convinces people that money is the root of all evil because it truly violates human moral standards. The dual nature of everything. In reality, money is just a tool. Just like gun ownership is legal in the US. A gun can be used to save lives, but it can also be used to kill people, and it also causes many ethical problems in society. Why? Because of human greed and fear. Any tool used to solve problems, when it falls into human hands, will lead to ethical issues. Similarly, many wealthy people engage in philanthropy, and many people receive help through those donations. In Buddhism, this is called financial generosity, which is also a form of accumulating merit and doing good deeds. But in fact, it can also lead to ethical problems. Consider this. The rich can donate money to gain inner joy. Most of them sincerely want to help others, but most recipients of donations feel somewhat inferior. So, does donating violate ethics because it hurts others' self-esteem? Therefore, what I want to say is that everything has two sides. We should not blame external objects, but seek the truth from within ourselves. Remember, money is not the root of all evil. Human beings are. Just like that actress who used a surrogate, people criticize her as a person, not money. Because even if there were no money in this world, evil would still exist. Therefore, what we need to do is continue moral education. Human beings are different from animals because we have thoughts and we have a sense of right and wrong. In this world, everything has two sides. All the things we do are both right and wrong. Right and wrong have no absolute standard. What we can do is follow the inner calling. Even if something benefits you but makes you uncomfortable inside, don't do it. Conversely, if something logically seems not to benefit you but makes you feel happy, you can still do it, as long as it's not illegal. Do you understand? This already contains the profound thought of Buddhism. The limits of the market and the importance of culture. Thirdly, the author argues that the market is not omnipotent. The market also fails at times. What does that mean? Simply put, money is not everything. There are many things money cannot buy, or even if you have money, you may not achieve the desired results. For example, in Switzerland, there was once a need to dispose of nuclear waste, and the only suitable location was a small village. At that time, economists conducted a survey, asking villagers if they would accept the construction of a nuclear waste storage facility there. The result was that 51% of the people said yes. This showed that the local population's awareness was quite high, because they understood that this type of waste could not be moved abroad. It could only be stored domestically. But after the survey ended, the government announced that it would compensate the villagers with cash. What was the result? Only 25% of the people agreed to store nuclear waste there, from 51% down to 25%. Why? Because money cannot buy safety, and money cannot buy health, right? The first time I sacrificed for my honor, for my love of the motherland. But the second time, I used money to buy forgiveness. I am not something your money can buy, right? This is the negative impact of the market that the author mentions. Later, when they increased the compensation to $8,700, the support level was still very low. Therefore, the initial choice came from a sense of civic responsibility. But after using money to solve the problem, that sense of civic responsibility was gone. Actually, as I said above, it's because we have a sense of right and wrong. The saying, "A gentleman does not accept bribes," is for this reason. Therefore, problems that can be solved with money are not problems, while problems that cannot be solved with money are the real problems. I completely agree with this. A successful company is not because its internal reward system is good, but because its corporate culture can gain widespread agreement from employees. For example, Alibaba's slogan of wanting to make every transaction in the world easier is truly impressive. If I were one of the 18 Arhats, I would also be willing to work for Alibaba, because we share a common dream, striving together for a noble ideal. Because that dream is truly great. It can change human transaction behavior and business models. That is a scientific revolution in history, a once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity. Everyone who participates feels honored. Therefore, this is also why corporate culture is important, because it achieves effects that money cannot buy. My perspective: pragmatism before ideals. However, I want to say that although I agree that money is not everything, I still maintain a cautious attitude towards most of the views in the book. If this book were written for the rich, it could help them rethink ethical and fairness issues. But unfortunately, most of the people who read this book are poor, and they easily conclude that money is the root of all evil. Some might even say, "Why make so much money? The rich are all immoral." Then they will hate the rich and find comfort in their own poverty. Although they secretly admire successful people, they often say things like, "Money can't buy these things." That's true. People like that will enjoy reading this book even more because it helps them find many comforting reasons for their failures. But we need to clarify what the rules of society truly are. This society is driven by money. Many problems, if solved with money, will lose their true value. However, if not solved with money, many other problems will arise or optimal results will not be achieved. Therefore, what we need to do is get rich first. We need to earn our first dollars, then build assets to create passive income, and only then think about raising our ideals and aspirations. Simply put, it's about following the rules of the game first, becoming strong enough ourselves, and then changing the rules of the game. I hope that before reading this book, you will ask yourself if you are a positive or negative energy person. Because if you don't have enough positive energy, enough wisdom, and enough practicality, you will easily get lost and fall into delusion. This book is written for people who are about to awaken but have not yet enlightenment. People who are in a deadlock. Please consider carefully. Don't let yourself remain poor forever. I hope everyone reflect a bit. Due to time constraints, I will stop here today. I share free information on how to become rich, an entrepreneur, an investor, and achieve financial freedom. If you don't want to miss out, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share the video freely with everyone. I sincerely wish all of you who have liked this video to achieve financial freedom soon. If you can find just 1 or 2 useful sentences in today's content to improve your life, I will feel content.